For example, etcétera,
For example, which one?
etcétera.
Etc. Yeah, it's an abbreviation. That's true. It says that abbreviation is a shortened form of a word or words, because there are different ways to shorten words. There are a few different types of abbreviations. Let's go here. What are abbreviations? So it's when you reduce a word. It's when you reduce a word. Okay, types of abbreviation. There are 5 abbreviations. We have clipping, contractions, initialisms, acronyms, and texties. Online slang. For example, I remember that when I speak in Spanish, my mom used to say, XQ. XQ means like why. You see? XQ. Do you remember? Yeah,
Yeah.
this is kind of texty online slang, or XD. Okay, like which is oh my God. Okay, so this is texties acronyms combining the first letters of multiple words. Let's check it out in a few seconds. Clipping. Please read the definition of clipping.
Clipping refers to the removal of entire syllables from words, usually from the end. What's left is typically 1 or 2 syllables that people can still easily recognize. Clipping is so common that often the abbreviation is much more popular than the full version of the word. It's also frequently used with people's names to create nicknames.
Yes, so for example, we use clipping when we don't want to say a long word. We want to short that word. For example, we have the word advertisement, but we are very lazy, so we say at. Instead of examination, people say exam. Instead of application, app. Rhino, flu, Liz, or Beth, Elizabeth. So you can clip your own words. For example, you say, hand me the computer. You say, hand me the computer. Or can I borrow your referee instead of can I borrow your refrigerator? You see, so you can do that, okay? You can create new words. For example, hey, can you show me your mic instead of microphone? You reduce. There isn't, or there aren't, or there are no rules for that. There are no rules. You come up with, you create, come up with. Let me write the word, maybe you don't remember the phrasal verb come up with. You come up with ideas. You come up with a new word. For example, if I say another word, furniture, sometimes people say, or granny, you say grandma, grandmother, grandma, grandfather, grandpa. You reduce the word. There are no rules. It's up to you. Okay. For example, my little sister, she usually says, hey, Carlos, can you lend me your cell? What is cell? Cell phone. Because she doesn't want to say the whole world, so you can reduce it. Did you understand? Especially for kids. Especially for kids. Nice. Then you know this, of course, contractions. Okay, contractions are one of the most common types of abbreviations. It involves removing individual letters instead of the entire syllable as in clipping. So remember that, for example, you have examination, you say exam. Application, app. Okay, but in contraction it's kind of different because a lot of contraction use punctuation to show that a word has been shortened. For example, we have doctor, we have the R. You see?
Yeah.
You cannot say, for example, you say doctor, but people clipping, it could be doc, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but doc, it stands for, remember, it stands for is like represent, okay? It stands for. Doc means document. So we cannot do that because doc means document. It's not doctor. So you can do this. You say DR. You got it?
Okay. Yeah.
For example, we have avenue, clipping would be, it's, well, but people never clip the word avenue. They don't say avenue, no, they don't say avenue like this. They say AV and the period here. You see?
Yeah.
You know the difference between clipping and contractions? Yes?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. For example, we have the word January. Listen to me. January. This is clipping or contraction. Listen to me. Jenny. Clipping or contraction, that would be. If we say Jenny instead of January.
Clipping.
Clipping, right? And if I say Jan and the period, contraction, right? Contraction. Remember that it is some words, or we have some common clipping words and some contractions words like this. Let's continue. Remember that we do this with title or with the months. It's common with the months. We say Jan, we say April and the period, December and the period. Got it?
Okay.
Or for address, when you want to write addresses like saint, you don't say, for example, the word saint. Clipping would be like, it's impossible because nobody uses, it's short. It's a short word, so you don't reduce the word. You use abbreviations. You say ST. Avenue, AV. Apartment, APT. This is contraction. Okay? For example, it's incorrect to write what ST do you live on? Typically are used for proper names in addresses, whereas they are not used to replace words used generally. They are just for some words, but you never use in your speech, I mean, when you want to replace. For example, you say, it says, this is a document, this is a form. Okay, Gabby, this is a form, maybe you want as an application, and it says address, and then you say, Avenue 123, Manitoba. Okay, Avenue 123, Manitoba. But when you speak, they don't say, where do you live? I live in, or I live on an AV 123. No, you say avenue. You say avenue. You don't ever say AV. It's not common. Okay? When you write, it's perfect because you use contractions, but when you speak,
Okay.
Not all contraction use punctuation. For example, cm for centimeter does not use any punctuation, while in stand for inches, the punctuation used with a unit of measurement is related to the style being followed. So always double check the proper way to write contraction if you are uncertain. And then we have here some common contractions. Okay, for example, can't, cannot, could have, it's, it is, or it has, it'll, Mr. and Mrs., Dr., Jan, Avenue, apartment, pen, inch, pounds, foot or feet. You see?
Yeah.
Initialisms. Initialisms is an abbreviation that uses the first letter of each word to represent the whole phrase. It's commonly used for people and organizations' names as a way to shorten long titles, especially in writing. For example, J.R.R. Tolkien is the more popular name of the author for The Lord of the Rings. When pronunciation initialisms say the name of each letter, this is the main difference between initialism and acronyms, where acronyms are pronounced like words. For example, what is the difference between initialisms and acronyms? Look at this. Initialisms is you use the first letter of each word. For example, we have FBI, UFO, CEO. You pronounce letter by letter. For example, an MBA is Master M, Business B, Administration A. Master of Business Administration, MBA. You get it?
Yeah.
But acronymism is different. For example, we have PIN, You never say PIN. No, you don't say PIN, you say PIN. It's personal identification number. What is the difference? That when you have acronyms, you pronounce the word. You say NASA. You never say NASA. You got it? Do you have any questions about these words? Initialisms and acronyms? No, right? Nice. And then we have textillas or online slang. Also known as online slang is a type of abbreviation. This is very simple like this. LOL, laugh out loud. By the way, you say, in my opinion, I don't know what, because we can't. Sometimes, for example, when I work, my friend says, what is that? What do you think? This is
What's up?
wait. This is wait. You can say wait. Then we have, for example, BRB. The people say be right. Be right back. Be right back. Like, I'll be right back later. Be right back. Be right back. Then the people say, for example, this one, which is I love you. You say this one. And or XOXO. It means hugs and kiss. You know, kisses. You see? Yeah. So you need to understand, because remember that this is real English. When you talk to native speakers, sometimes they will use words that probably you don't know. So you need to like check these words. And here we have, what are the top 10 abbreviations in English? So these are the 10 top. Don't, cannot, want, Mr., PM, AM, and okay. Yeah. You got it? Yes. And we're done with that part. Do you have any questions about this one? Remember that
No.
clipping. You can create your words, contractions. You know that you write, but you don't pronounce. Initialisms, you pronounce letter by letter. By acronyms, you pronounce as a word. Okie dokie. And of course, textiles or online slang. Do you have any questions up to this point?
No.
Great. Let's continue. We are on fire. Let's go to classes here. Next, well, a difficult topic, each and every. Okay, each and every. Let's go here. Each and every. Each in English is often said to be one of the hardest languages to learn. Its grammar can be tricky, and some of its words have overlapping meanings. When it comes to words each and every, even seasoned writers can make mistakes. After all, there are times when either word can sound correct. They can be used to convey very similar ideas, but doesn't necessarily mean both words will work in a given sentence. Focus on this part. What does each mean? The word each refers to individual things within a group of two or more. For example, the last two slices of pizza, each slice. The canvases in a gallery, each canvas. In cases where there are only two items in a group, you can use either each or both. Remember that it happened just when there are two items. Another notable synonym for each other is one another. However, one another is more formal. Focus on this part. Imagine that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 stars, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So let's go here. And I say a star with a heart, with a heart, with a heart, with a heart, with a heart. You can say that each star has a
Heart.
Each star has a heart because we have a star has a heart, Each star has a heart. But you know, biology, biology. Imagine that this is a theory, of course. It says hearts or stars have a heart in their anatomy. Okay, you know the stars have a heart in their anatomy, like people, right?
Yeah.
So you can say every star has a heart. As you can see here, the first one is one by one, but every means all of them. Why? Because it's a general idea. Did you understand?
Uh, every no.
And one more time,
Please.
Okay, this is a boy. This is a boy. Okay? And now we have another boy, another boy, another boy. There are 4 boys, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So you say each boy has a cell phone because this is gonna be boy A, boy B, boy C, boy D, because boy A has a cell phone. Boy B has a cell phone. Boy C has a cell phone. So when you say each, one, you get it?
Yeah.
But in the world, in Peru, for example, you know, in Peru, there aren't four boys. There are more, right? Like 2,000, 3,000, a lot of people, a lot of young people, okay? So in a general idea, you say, well, every boy in Peru has a cell phone.
Okay, yeah.
Did you understand now?
Yeah.
Pretty cool. So that is the difference between every and each. Let's continue. So that is the reason that when you have just 2, you can use which one? Both. You can say, for example, imagine that I have my son and then I have my daughter. You can say each child goes to school. Or you can say, because there are just 2, you can say both go to school. Both. Did you understand?
Yes.
Now, what does every mean? Every is similar to each in that both words are used to reference groups of items. While each can be used for groups of 2 or more, every refers to a group of at least 3 items. Additionally, every refers to the collective whole, not just individual. For instance, doctors in general, so every doctor in the world in general, you see? All the people at my family reunion, everyone. The people at the concert, every concert goer. You see, every. Another word that you could use instead of every is all. Okay? But remember that when you use all, you need to include the preposition of, and then you need to include another word. Okay?
Okay.
How to use each and every in a sentence. So here we have the structure. Okay? Each or every, and then you have to use the noun. Obviously, the noun is in singular. Okay? We can never, we can't use the plural. When you are writing a sentence and trying to decide between using each or every, first think of the noun or the subject of the sentence. Both, each and every, can be used only with countable nouns in singular. For instance, dogs, mornings, milliliters of water are all countable. However, nouns like beauty, water, and research are not. So you use singular, just singular, okay? If it passes that test, consider the number of items in the group. If it's only 2, stick with each. If it's 3 or more, either word could work. Okay, either word could work. The next step is looking at what you want to say. Ask yourself, am I referring to individual in a group or a group as a whole? If the answer is individual in a group, you use each. But if the answer is a group as a whole, you use every. Did you understand?
Yes.
For example, in the sentence, how do you say? Each person should learn English or every person should learn English?
Every person.
Every person, because it's a general idea, right? It's a group. But you know, you say, for example, and in this house, because you have 3 kids or 2 kids, you have 3 kids, imagine. You say, I mean, all of you, I mean, Juan, Pepito, Juanito, Maria should learn English. What would you say?
Each.
Each what? Each child, cada hijo, each child should learn English. Of course, you see, when it refers to the whole group, you use every. But when it refers to just 2, remember each. More than 3, every. Did you understand?
Yes.
Nice. And singular, don't forget. And now, once you decided which word works best, look at the verb you want to use. Are you unsure about which form of the verb is correct? The key is to remember the rule of the subject-verb agreement. That means the subject of your sentence and the verb should be consistent with each other. So if you're using a singular subject that refers to an individual thing, which is common with both and each and every, the verb should be singular. For example, you say each person is, you never say each person are. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that it refers to different people. What matters here is the fact that it refers to singular word, person. Did you understand?
Yes.
So you say, for example, each person in this house, will wash their dishes. Each person in this house will wash their dishes. And that's all. Remember, is and are. Then we have each of versus every one of. If each and every are being used before a plural noun, you need to conclude a word after them. That's when the phrase each of and every one of come in handy. For example, she gave each of them assignments that day. The teacher graded every one of the tests. Every one of the tests. You see?
She gave each of them. Okay.
Got
Yes.
it? Nice. And here we have more examples, each and every example. Each person, recall, they were each holding a copy of the book, each of the graduates. Remember that when you want to use plural, you have to use each of and every one of, plural. Okay? Every person at the party stopped talking. I mean, everyone, you know, every person, every one of the students passed the test. Here we have some frequently asked questions. I have a question. Is this acronym or initialisms?
Initialism.
Yeah, it could be initialisms, okay, but we never say FAQs. We say facts. Frequently asked common questions. Okay? So what is the difference? It focuses on individual thing within a larger group of 2 or more items. What are some examples of each and every is used? She had a small tattoo of each wrist. She watering on every finger. Focus on this part. She had a small tattoo on each wrist. On each wrist. You see? One here, one here. And she wore a ring on every finger. On every finger. You see? Imagine that I have just 2 fingers. So each finger, you see?
Okay.
And that's all. And that's all. Okay, so now we are going to practice our speaking. So I hope that you can use this grammar. If you make mistakes, no problem. Okay, just give me a second. Community, the presentation is loading. Okay, let me share the link first. One second. In the chat box, you can find a link. Yes, now you are able to share the screen. Every minute. Every day except Sunday. Every 10 minutes. Nice. Good job. Good job. Good job. Let's continue. Tell me. Yes. 1 second. Let me share the second one. The second one, it's there. You just need to click on it. You can start. Yes. Every. Every, because it says all of them.
Game tennis, there are 2 or 4 players. Each player has a racket.
Mm-hmm. Every word, yes. Every. Every minute, nice.
I'm trying to find how to tell about time there wasn't a break.
Each. Every. Each. Okay, to make it clear, you got it? Or maybe you want me to explain a little bit in Spanish so you can have a better understanding of this topic.
Only the wrong
Okay, okay. Wrong questions. Show the answers. Okay, number 2, it says the Olympic Games are held every 4 years. So, Gabby, focus on this part, okay? So then you can realize. Gabby, when it refers, focus, when you refer to the whole group or to the individual group. For example, I have 20 students. I have 20 students. You say, every student has a book or each student has a book. You know, I have 20 students. So what is the answer? Each student has a book because Pepito has a book, has a book, has a book, has a book, has a book. But I work in different schools. I work in different schools. School A, school B, school C. And you know, all my students, all of them have books. So you say each student has a book or every student has a book. Every student. But in this class, each student has a book. In general, every student has a book, right? For example, I work each day or I work every day.
Every day.
Every day, but each day I explain different grammar. You see? So as you can see here, please, do you mind sharing the screen again? I would like to check the mistakes you made. For example, in number 2, the Olympic Games are held each 4 years. I mean, I have 4 years or 4 years, 4 years, 4 years, 4 years in general. In general, of course. Number 3, you say, as you know, you say each parent, just each parent, cada padre, each parent, or in general, every parent. In general, right? In general, let's continue. Number 8, I get paid each 4 weeks or every 4 weeks? Every 4 weeks. Every 4 weeks. Another one. That's all? Yes, all of them, right? So, Gabi, remember, each is when it refers to the individual, but every is in general, okay? For example,
I didn't understand the A.
the A. The A. So you get paid, you say each 4 weeks, or every 4 weeks. In general, every 4 weeks, every 4 weeks, every 4 weeks. Remember that when it refers to more than 2 or 3, more than 3, you use every, right? Another example could be, for example, 1 second, let me write here. One second. Okay, for example, Gabriela, imagine that we are celebrating Christmas. Okay, we are celebrating Christmas. You have friends, of course. You have your best friends are Pepito, Pepita, Juanito, Juanita. You have 4 best friends, but in general, you have friends, right?
Yeah.
So you say, well, I want to buy some presents. I want to buy some presents for every friend or for each friend. What do you think?
For each friend.
Yes, of course, because you are not gonna give gifts for every friend that you have, right? You refers to individual, but you don't refer to a general word or group. I here have some examples to make it this idea clear. Tan 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 tan. Look at this. Uh-oh. 1 second. Yes. Let me dun dun dun. Let me make this like smaller. Now, you can see it, right?
Yes.
It says, each student in the class has a unique talent. Implies that every individual student has their own talent. You know, every boy in the world, Gabby, every boy in the world is intelligent. Implies that everyone is intelligent. You get it?
Yes.
Yes. And then we have every student in the class must submit their homework. Implies that there is a shared expectation for all the students to submit their homework on time. Next, I gave each of my friends a gift for the birthday. Implies that each friend received their own unique gift. I gave every guest at the party a slice of cake. Implies that there was a shared item distributed to all the guests. The teacher graded each paper carefully. Implies that the teacher carefully graded individual papers. His teacher gave every student a passing grade. Implies that all the students received a passing grade. Now, a little bit better.
Yes.
For example, for me, listen, for me, every class I have is special. For me, every class I have is special because I teach different things, right? Okay. In each class, I make my students laugh. Is that okay? Or in every class, I make my students laugh. What do you think? Or could be both. What do you think? What do you think? Yes. Again, you know, I'm referring to a general idea. In every class, I use every, because just it's not in your class. Every class I have is special for me. So every class I have is special for me. Got it? But for example, each class with you is different. Each class with you. Am I referring to my old classes or just with your classes? Is a general idea or not? No, it's just yours, right? Because if it's yours, you use each. You cannot use every, okay? You say, for example, I study English every day or I study English each day.
Every day.
Every day. In a week, each class is amazing. In a week, each class, I mean, it refers to Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, right? In each week or in each class in the week, it's amazing. So when it refers to that general idea, you use every, but it refers to individual class, individual, it's gonna be each. You get it?
Okay.
For example,
Yes.
this is another example. And I say, I check I don't know, every exam carefully. You see, I check every exam carefully. It means that whenever I check an exam, I do it carefully because, you know, in my life, well, Gabby, you know, I check every exam carefully. It doesn't matter if it's your exam. It doesn't matter if it's Pepito's exam. Every exam I take, I check it carefully. You get it? Yes. But now, okay, now we are in basic 11 at an institution. We're in basic 11. And you say, you know, Carlos, check each exam carefully. Carlos, check each exam carefully. It refers to the exams that I take in different institution or just in this class?
Yes, in this
Just in this class. So you say, cada examen la revisó cuidadosamente, pero solamente a estos. Individual, you see? I'm not referring to the every exam I take. You get it? You have to enjoy each day in your life or every day in your life?
Every day.
Every day. I mean, in general, it doesn't matter if you are sick, you are tired, you are happy. You enjoy every day in your life. You get it? But for example, you know, Gabby, I enjoy every day in my life. But this week, how many days do we have in a week?
5.
5 or 7, right? 5. But this week, I didn't enjoy each day. You see, because if I say I didn't enjoy every day, it means that I don't enjoy the days in the future, the days in the past, and the days in the present. You see? Now you got the difference? Yes?
Yes.
Amazing. When you have just 2, you use both. Of course. Nice. Let's continue. Dun, dun, dun. So we understood a difficult topic, right? Each and every is a little bit complicated. Yes? Yes. Another topic. Where is my platform? It's here. Next topic, another difficult topic, Gabby. And did you realize that I just explained in English and you understand what I'm saying, right?
Yes.
Well, that's amazing. Let's continue. We have here where versus in which versus wherein. It's another one. This is new for you, right? This is new for you. This is gonna be new for you. Okay. Where and wherein may look and sound similar, but in reality, they have different meanings. In fact, wherein can be another way of saying in which. But how do you know when to use it? You see? It refers wherein, where. You got it. It doesn't say how to use every. No, how to use each. So remember that you can say each of them, but you don't want to say each of them. But we understand, so we can omit of them. So we say use each of them, each. You see? Well, go over the definitions. Let's go here. Definition of where versus in which versus wherein. Where can be an adverb of, you know how to use where, you know, look at the examples. She lives in a neighborhood where everyone puts up holidays decoration. He only purchases avocados from Mexico where they grow year round. So where is donde in Spanish? So it's pretty similar. For example, how do you say, well, I can find my keys. What is the question? I can find my keys. What do you say?
Where are my keys?
Where are my keys? Or do you know where my keys are, right? So where, do you know where my keys are? I don't know where my keys are. Where, very simple, right? Yes. In which is a combination of the preposition in and the relative pronoun which. Do you remember that when we use in means inside, right? Yes. For example, I have a box and this is my finger. So the finger is in my box or on the box. In, because it's inside, right? And then we have the word which. Do you remember which? Which can replace animals or things. Do you remember? That is the dog which is mine, which is blue, etc. When they're used together, they form a relative pronoun to refer to a subject, place, or time. In which refers to a place or time. In which can also use as interrogative pronoun to take the place of the word where. Repeat, in which can also be used as an interrogative pronoun to take the place of the word where. For example, we went to the house on the top of the hill, in which we made many childhood memories. In which hotel are you staying? You got it. In which?
In which, okay.
Do you need more examples? If you
Yes,
wanna like understand it like a Spanish, I use a word in Spanish which is en el cual. En el cual refers to a place, refers to an animal, refers to whatever, but of course, never a person. Never a person. For example,
in which,
in which, for example, Gabi, we have a class in which you learn English. You have a class in which you learn English. So instead of saying where, you know, I have a class where I learn English, you say in which, because instead of saying where, you say in which. For example, you say, I want to live in a country. I want to live in a country where I can speak Spanish. I want to live in a country where I can speak Spanish. So where, in which? I want to live in a country in which I can speak Spanish, because in which is similar to where. The meaning is different. Of course, where, donde yo pueda hablar inglés, in which, en el cual yo pueda hablar inglés, which is the same, of course. Did you understand, Gabby?
okay.
But remember that we can also use in which instead of where in questions. So you say, in which hotel are you or are they staying? Do you remember that we asked this question? You say, what hotel are you staying in, right? Because we don't have en cuál. And we say, you say, in what hotel are you staying in? Because remember that we don't have in what, right? So you drop this and you say, what hotel are you staying in? Okay. So you can
say,
you can use in which hotel are you staying in,
okay.
but you use in which because it exists. In which, but you never say in what. No, in what, no, in which, because remember that in which replaces a place or time.
Place or time, okay. Yeah.
And this is pretty common, to be honest, el in which. In which is more common when you express your idea rather than when you ask a question. For example, I say, you know, I had a class at a university in which we have to speak in English. I have a class in the university in which. That in which refers to the university or it refers to the class? I have a class at the university in which I have to speak in English. In which refers to the university or the class?
The class.
The class. So I have a class in the university in which I have to speak in English. You see, in which or where I can speak English, but I don't want to use where, I want to use in which. So this is more common, right? Next.
And can I use for years?
Can you give an example?
For example, I have 10 experience
Years.
working experience, working as a customer service in the tourism industry, in which almost 9 years
Yeah, it's okay.
working in airlines.
That's amazing. In which, of course, you say, well, I have been working in the customer service industry for 10 years, in which I learned different skills. in which I practice my English, in which I discovered new friends. You can use in which, of course, that's a great use. Or you can say, I worked for 10 years, in which 9 of them, or in which each year I learn something different, because it refers to 10 years. So each year I learn something different. You learn something different here, 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 here. Or you can say every year, but it refers to like the years that you're living now and the 10 years that you work every, because it's a general idea, you see?
Okay, yeah.
For example, if I say this, Gabby, every year I learn something different. Every year I learn something different. It means that every year when I was 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 21, 22, 23, every year I learn something different. But now, when I work at IBNA, I worked for 10 years. I worked for 10 years as a coach. Each year I learn something different. It refers to just the 10 years where I work, in which I work. You see? In which I work. The 10 years in which I work. So you got a little bit better. Yes?
Okay, yeah.
Nice. Let's continue. And then we have wherein. Wherein can be an adverb or conjunction. As an adverb, it is essential. Essentially means what way or how. Repeat. Wherein means what way or how. As a conjunction, its definition is in which. So wherein and in which, they have the same meaning, okay? But as a conjunction, it means how. Look at this part. Wherein was I wrong for putting pineapples on my pizza? Please refer to Exhibit C, wherein in terms of the contract are enumerated. So in this case, for example, wherein means what way or how, or in which? This wherein
Again,
means,
please.
tell me?
Again, please.
Okay, wherein has two meanings. Okay, wherein has two meanings. Number one, what way or how? What way or how? And the second meaning is in which. In the sentence number two, it say, remember that you have Exhibit A, Exhibit B. Before you sign something, Gabby, for example, a contract, you need to read the Exhibit A, Exhibit B, Exhibit C, Exhibit C, Exhibit D, E. You have a lot of exhibits, you see? It could be in Spanish, cláusula. Yes? Remember that we can do this, Gabby. When you don't know a word, you just do this. Click here, and then click here, and then you have the meaning. Anexo, okay? Exhibit anexo. So it says, please refer to Anexo C, wherein the terms of the contract are enumerated. So in this case, in this example, the meaning is what way or how, or in which? Remember that wherein means what way or how, and also in which. In this case, wherein means what way or how, or in which, in number two.
In which?
In which. Perfect. You say, please refer to Exhibit C, in which, I mean, in Exhibit C, you can find the terms of the contract, you see? And this wherein is how or what? What way? So here you have the difference between these two words. Did you understand?
One example of what way?
What way? You replace. How? How was I wrong for putting pineapples on my pizza?
Yeah.
How? How? Let me give you more examples. Let me write it here. 1 second. Okay, Gabby, 1 second. Dun, dun, dun. Okay. Gabby, can you see my examples?
Yes.
So I divided the examples into 2 groups. We have, for example, wherein, in which, wherein, what way, or how. Look at this. The contract includes a clause wherein or in which the buyer agrees to pay all shipping costs. The study aims to investigate the factors in which students achieve higher grades. This is the point in which we need to decide which direction to take. You see? En el cual, in which. But what about what way? The article describes how the new technology is expected to change the industry. You see, how or what way? The article describes how the new technology is expected. He explained wherein he bought the project could be improved. He explained how the project or how he thought or what way he thought. The manager pointed out how the team's performance had fallen short. Now you see the difference?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's difficult to understand how the English is constructed. You know how the English is constructed? You say, sometimes it's difficult to explain wherein the grammar is constructed. You see, wherein, how? No problem, it's the same. But now, focus on this part because it says when. When to use it. I'm not sharing the screen. 1 second. So now we know the meaning, right? We know the definitions.
Yeah.
But now, Gabby, when to use it or when to use them. Where, use where when you are trying to indicate the location or position of a subject. It is very simple, you know. We went back to the restaurant where he had. Where is the nearest? Where can also, it's the common word, where. Got it?
Yes.
There may be times when you see or hear someone use where in place of when, but that should be avoided and you write it in the previous sentence. For example, one might have said, there may be times where, no, this is incorrect. This is there might be times when, because when refers to time, but where refers to places. No more. Remember, where places, when time. And remember that in which, do you remember the word in which? It refers to place or time. Look at this. In which.
Yeah.
In which. The relative pronoun in which is used when you want to connect a relative or dependent clause to an independent clause. So we have Sherlock had come to a halt in his investigation, in which it refers to the investigation, could be time and could be place. And we have here more examples. This is the cabinet in which, you know, in which it refers to the cabinet, en la cual I keep all my trinkets. Although the word wherein can be used in place of where or in what way, it's best to avoid it because it's old-fashioned. So you never use these words, Gabby. You never use the words in which. Okay? Because it's very old. You got it?
Okay. Yeah.
And no longer used in everyday English. It was popular during Shakespeare time and it still occurs in modern legal documents. So for example, when you go to the attorney, maybe you need an attorney in the future, when you read the documents and the attorney says, wherein, in which, because it's just for legal English. It's very old English. But you rarely hear someone use it in a conversation or in the writing, but it's really important to know what it means. And then we have wherein, although the word wherein can be used in places, it's best to avoid because it's old-fashioned and no longer used. So you don't use wherein. Okay? Where versus in which versus wherein examples. Here you have the examples and you understood the meaning. I have a question. Did you understand the class?
Yes.
You have any
So
questions?
I have to use in which or how.
In which
If,
or how? What do you mean when you say
uh-huh.
in which or how?
When, o sea que tengo que mejor usar esos a usar wherein.
Exactly, because wherein is a very old-fashioned English word.
Okay.
So why did you teach that? Because you are, when you read legal documents, maybe you want to buy a house. You say, for example, in the contract says, the contract in which you signed a few days ago, it is explained that you need to pay for the repair, I don't know, the restoration. In which, the document in which you signed. You see? So you can
Okay.
find this in documents, but you never use when you speak
Okay.
because it's very old.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions?
No.
No, right? So we're done with this part. We're done with each and every. I hope that you understand. For example, you say, look at this. Each card, because this is a card, okay? A card. Each card or each class is interesting, right? Each class is interesting. You see? Each. But you know, Gabby, every class I have is interesting. It means even that include the classes that are not here. You see?
Okay. Yeah.
You got it? Or maybe one more time. One more time.
No.
This is perfect. Type of verbos modales. Okay, we're done with that part. I think we finished dealing with customers. No, we did. Okay, here I create just a conversation so we can practice a little bit.
Okay.
It says, dealing with complaints. You know that when you dealing with complaints, it could be sometimes a little bit difficult, even when you don't speak English as your first language. So it's also important for customer service representatives to gather information to help to resolve the problem. So you're gonna be the customer, and I will be the customer care representative. Okay. And then we can analyze the words. Okay, please start.
Good morning. I purchased a computer from your company last month. Unfortunately, I'm not satisfied with my new computer. I'm having a lot of problems.
What seems to be the problem?
I'm having problems with my internet connection as well as repeated crashes when I try to run my word processing software.
Did you read the instructions that came with the computer?
Well, yes, but the troubleshooting section was no help.
What happened exactly?
Well, the internet connection doesn't work. I think the modem is broken. I like a replacement.
How were you using that computer when you tried to connect to the internet?
I was trying to connect to the internet. What kind of question is that?
I understand you're upset, sir. I'm just trying to understand the problem. I'm afraid it's not our policy to replace computer because of glitches.
I bought this computer with the software pre-loaded. I haven't touched it?
Touch
¿Cómo
it?
sería touch it?
No, sería touched. Touched.
Touched,
Touched
touched
anything.
anything.
We're sorry that you had a problem with this computer. Could you bring in your computer? I promise you will check the settings and get back to you immediately.
Okay, that will work for me.
Is there anything else I need to know about this that I haven't thought to ask?
No, I'd just like to be able to use my computer to connect to the internet.
We'll do our best to get your computer working as soon as possible. So what was the problem, Gabby? Do you remember?
Mm, a problem with his computer.
With his computer, what happened to his computer? The computer didn't turn on, the computer didn't have websites, the computer didn't have any programs. What happened with that computer?
Um,
Mm-hmm.
with the
With that,
software
because he couldn't connect the computer to the
internet.
internet. That was the problem. Okay. Here you have some interesting words. I like the word troubleshoot. Troubleshoot is when you find a problem and you also find a solution. This is troubleshoot. Okay.
Okay.
Troubleshoot means to find a problem and to find a solution.
Okay.
Glitch is a sudden and usually temporary malfunction or error in system or device. It's a glitch. You get it?
No.
For
Glitch.
example, imagine that you buy a cell phone, but you can make calls. There is a glitch in your cell phone. There is a
Okay.
glitch. Or maybe you download WhatsApp. You download WhatsApp, but you can't send messages. There is a glitch on your app. There is a glitch. You can turn on your computer. There is a glitch on your computer. You see?
Okay.
Not our policy, resolve the problem, gather information. And here you have some common questions that you need to remember when you work as a customer service representative. What seems to be the problem? What happened exactly? I'm afraid it's not our policy. I promise that you read how word I understand. I'm just trying. You have to remember these questions, Gabby.
Okay.
Yes. And here we
Yeah.
have some, we have like a game. Let's do it. Let me share the audio. Okay. Which one? It says finally. On time, on my time, a mistake, in a hurry. These are expressions that you use as a customer service representative.
In there.
Finally, in the end, by a person, not a machine.
By hand.
Okay. In a very short time.
In a moment.
In a moment. Along, not with other people.
On my own.
On my own, not early, not late.
Not early, not late. On time.
It was not a mistake.
It was not a mistake.
It was not a mistake.
A mistake on business. No sé, I don't know.
By chance, de casualidad, by chance.
By
For
chance.
example, I was walking and I found $10 by chance, Gabby. I found $10 by chance. Accidentally.
By mistake.
By mistake. It was not planned.
On purpose.
Accidentally, it was not a mistake. On purpose. I would say that accidentally can be an on purpose now. You cannot wait, not on holiday, but for work. Let's check the words. Tell me.
Cannot wait. Cannot wait in a hurry.
Cannot wait in a hurry. And it say it was not planned, but it's impossible on purpose. You say it was not planned by chance, on business, on purpose, accidentally. Let's check the answers. These two. Let's check it out. Remembered, on purpose, a propósito, on purpose. You did it on purpose. I hate you, on purpose. By mistake, por error. By chance, de casualidad. Okay. I am in a hurry. I want to do it quickly. You know, I don't want to wait. Do you have any questions about these words?
No.
So, Gabby, you just need to practice, right? You just need to practice.
Yes.
Well, let's start with the speaking. So in the speaking part, you have to speak a lot, of course. Okay. So how did you practice for your English interview?
Yes, I practiced one video with one video.
You
The first
practiced with
video.
one video, the first video. Okay. So
because the others was difficult.
it was difficult. It was difficult to answer them, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the problem is that you need to lie, Gabby. You need to lie. Do you know how to lie?
No.
Do you usually lie or you never lie?
No.
Yeah, well, in this case, you are going to create situations, okay? You have to create situations. I'm going to ask you different questions and try to come up with ideas, okay? If you make a mistake, no problem, but try to say your ideas faster. Did you understand?
Yes.
Yes, 1 second. We are going to speak now. So, if you don't remember a word, no problem, because you can ask me. Okay, let me open this. Let's start. Question number 1. So, Gabby, do you dream when you sleep?
No, I never do so.
You never do so. And why do you think that that happened to you? I mean, you don't dream. Why? Maybe because what?
Because the next day I couldn't take care of my baby.
Okay, you tell me that that happened because the next day you couldn't take care of your baby. But the question is, I mean, the question is, you don't sleep, right? No, I mean, you don't dream. You don't dream. You don't dream. And my question is, dream. My question is, why do you think that that situation happened to you? I mean, the fact that you don't dream, why? Do you have any ideas?
No.
Maybe because you are really tired, right? Yes, maybe because you are really tired, so you just fall asleep. Yes.
Okay.
That could be. That could be. Okay, when you don't have anything to do, Gabby, when you don't have anything to do you sleep or not?
Can you please?
Okay, when you don't have anything to do, when you don't have anything to do you sleep?
Um,
Or what do when you don't have anything to do?
um, I study English.
You study English, right? You study
Yeah.
English. Okay. Okay, let's just skip those questions. Next one. What makes you angry, Gabby? What makes you angry?
When my son doesn't listen to me,
When your son doesn't listen to you, sometimes, how do you say? Another way to say misbehave, another way to say sometimes he
uh, 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 out.
act acts out. Remember the actuar, act out. Okay. And when was the last time he acted out? When was the last time he acted out?
Yesterday,
What happened? What did he do?
uh, she, no, he,
Hmm.
where? She, she didn't want to take a shower.
She didn't want to take a shower, right?
Yeah,
Okay. And what happened? You yell at him or her?
I had to
Mhm.
told him,
You had
uh,
to tell him. You had to tell him.
I had to tell him um, many times
You had to tell him many times.
in
Okay.
that situation. Was it in that situation driving me crazy?
And that situation drove me crazy because it's in the past.
No,
Drove me
no,
crazy.
crazy.
Or you can say,
Okay,
well, in that situation in which my son acted up, drove me crazy. In
okay.
which, in that situation in which, en esa situación en la cual, in which. Okay, do you prefer the city or the countryside, Gabby?
I prefer the city because there are more activities
Mhm.
for my children,
There are more.
and I think the city is funny
Is the funniest?
than
Is the funniest?
the countryside.
Incorrect. That you say that your city is funnier than the countryside, right? What do you think? Is the city safer than the countryside or more dangerous?
More dangerous.
More dangerous, right? But how do you say, a pesar del hecho de que es más peligroso, me gustaría vivir en la ciudad en English?
Despite the fact that the city is more dangerous than the countryside, I would like to live in a city.
Nice. Do you have a hidden talent? I mean, do you know maybe how to whatever talent you have? Do you have a hidden talent?
I think I paint very well.
Ah, you paint very well. You are really good at painting. Is that true?
Yes.
Yes. For example, I am really good at playing soccer. How do you say yo también?
And so do I.
Again.
Me too.
Yeah, el me too is perfect. but I want you to use so. Listen to me. I am really good at playing soccer. So
So,
I am really good.
so am I.
So am I, of course. And you know,
Mhm.
Gabi, I know how to speak French. I know how to speak French. How do you say yo también?
Um,
No,
I know.
I know how to speak
So
French.
do I.
So do I. But Gabi, remember that one day, I mean, 5 years ago, I didn't learn English. I didn't learn English. How do you say yo tampoco?
Neither did I.
Neither did I, of course. But Gabi, I was really happy. How do you say yo también?
Um, I was, um, so
I was really happy.
I so did I?
So
No.
was I. So was
So
I. So was I. Okay. And and Gabi, you know, I have visited London for I have visited London 6 times. I have visited London 6 times. My question is, or what I want you to do is, mis hijos también. I have visited London. Mis hijos también. How do you say that in English?
my kids. Okay. Um,
So,
and
again, I
so
have visited. I have visited London. Mis hijos también in English.
let's have, no?
Yes, I have visited.
Um, so have,
So have,
no sé,
so have my, so have my
my
children,
kid.
all my
Uh-huh.
kids. So have my children, all my kids. Mis hijos también. You get it?
Ah, así solo eso.
Sí, nada más.
¿No?
Yes, for example, Gabi, you know, I will travel to Canada. How do you say mi familia también? I will travel to Canada. Mi familia también.
So will we?
So will we, or so will my family. So will my
So
family. That's perfect. Next, what are your plans for the weekend? What are you going to do? What are you doing this weekend, tomorrow?
well, tomorrow, I'm gonna sell my clothes and things that I don't use anymore.
Okay, you are selling. You are selling. Remember that when it refers to a near future, you know, tomorrow. And of course, yes, I know that you are really sure because you are planning your weekend. You can use continuous or going to. In this case, because it's tomorrow, that is the reason I say tomorrow. You
Mhm,
say, I am selling my clothes and things I don't need anymore tomorrow. You see?
mhm,
Because it's
mhm.
casual. It's casual, but of course it's great. If you use the future going to, it's perfect. It's
Okay.
perfect. Okay. Do you like football?
Yes, I like it.
You like it, right? But do you play it?
Um, sorry. I used to play with my friends when I went to school.
You used to play it when you used to go to school, right? Okay, what is something, Gabby, that you used to like doing when you were younger, but dislike doing now?
For example, go dancing.
Okay, so you say, I used to like
I
dancing
used
or
to
going
like
dancing,
dancing.
right? But now you don't like anymore.
No,
Why not?
I'm tired every
You
day.
are tired? Of course, of course. And what is something you don't mind doing? You say, well, I don't mind, I'm gonna do it. What is something you don't mind doing?
Taking care of my niece.
Of your niece?
Uh-huh.
Ah, no, you have a niece. What is her name?
Mauricio,
Ah, your nephew.
nephew.
Nephew. Niece, it was a girl. I thought, what is her name? But then you say Mauricio, and now it's different. Nephew.
Y si es plural, serían nephews, nephew.
Nephews
Mm,
and nieces. Nieces for
okay,
girl, nephew for boys.
okay.
Let me write it. Nephew, niece. And remember that we pronounce nice. This is nice niece, nephew. Okay?
Mhm.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay, you don't mind. You don't mind taking care of your nephew.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. What is something you don't feel like doing right now? This is like, sorry, you don't feel like doing right now.
What is something you don't feel?
For example, I don't feel like washing my clothes right now because I am teaching. I don't want to wash my clothes now. How do you feel? You don't feel like doing what?
What is something you don't feel
Feel like it's like tener ganas de. I don't feel like cleaning my house now.
okay, I don't feeling así, ¿no?
I don't feel
I don't
like.
feel like cooking right
You don't
now.
feel like cooking right now. You are tired. Maybe you don't want to cook. That true?
Because
Yes. Why?
I cooked all the week, all week.
Or you say I cooked every week because I cook every week. You know, last week, this week, the next week, and the future. You see, I cook every week. You see?
But that I want to say is I don't feel like cooking right now because it's Friday and I cooked such day.
And you cook such day. What do you mean when you say such
Such
day?
day of the week.
Tell me.
Such day of the week. Or every day of the week.
What is such? This one.
Cada.
Each.
Yeah, okay.
Each. This is such.
Mhm.
Each. Okay. So you say that you don't feel like cooking right now because it's Friday and you cook each day of the week.
Yeah.
Of course, you can say, for example, I cook every day, but each day I have to cook every day something different. You see? I mean, that day something different.
Okay.
That day something different. That day something. You can use both of these words. Okay.
Yeah.
I know
Okay.
that with practice, do you remember when you say especially with E, especially with S? Yeah, it's similar to each and every. Okay, you need to practice a lot. What
Okay.
is something recently finished doing?
Mm, I cleaned my house.
You finish cleaning your house, right? You finish
Mhm.
cleaning your house.
All my house.
All your house. All your house. And what is something you should stop doing? Maybe smoking, maybe you should stop drinking alcoholic beverages. What do you think?
And I should stop eating trash. food
Fast food,
or
fast food
fast
or
food?
junk food, junk food, junk food, comida chatarra, junk food.
Yeah.
One more question. What is something you enjoy doing after class? For example, I enjoy watching videos on TikTok because that makes me happy, you know? They are funny videos there. What about you?
I enjoy using or looking my social media.
Checking your social media, right? You check your
Checking.
social, you check your social media for
Yeah.
about how many hours? 1 hour, 2 hours?
1 hour.
1 hour. Okay. You are not addicted to your cell phone or you are not addicted to social media, right?
I can't.
You can't, of course.
Uh-huh.
And what is something you hate doing? What do you hate doing?
I hate washing my pets.
You hate washing your pets, but you have to do it because you love them, right? You
Yeah.
have to do it because
Mhm.
you love them. Of course. And next question, what is something you should spend more time doing? Mhm.
We should spend more time. I should spend exercise, o sea, ¿cómo respondo? Exercising or
You should spend more time exercising. But the word I was looking for is get around to. ¿Te acuerdas? Do you remember the word get around to? Which means to make time to do something that you want. For example, I need to get around to exercising. In Spanish, get around to hacer tiempo para hacer algo que quiero. Necesito get around to exercising.
okay, I need to get one to exercise.
Or
Okay.
maybe studying or practicing, or maybe just taking some time and resting.
Okay.
What is something you plan to continue doing? It's something that you plan to continue doing in the future. Maybe a plan. What do you think?
Um, I plan visit my friend or visiting. I
Okay,
plan to visit.
you plan to visit. You plan
I
to
plan to
visit.
visit my friend.
You plan to visit your friend, maybe to catch up, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. What is something you recently started doing?
Um, I started selling my things.
You started selling your things, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And what is something you like doing with some friends?
I like to, era touch, getting in touch. ¿Cómo era?
What
Get
do you
in touch.
mean?
Como ponerse al día, get in touch.
Okay, get in touch. Okay, but we say keep, ponerse el día es catch up.
Catching up.
Catching up.
Catching up.
Catch up. Si quieres ponerte el día con alguien with.
Yes.
Okay. So Gabby, imagine a character can stop crying, a character in a movie, a character, maybe you live in a fairy tale cuento de hadas. So Gabby, a character can stop crying, but you don't know the reason why he is crying or she is crying. You don't know the reason. What would you say? For example, you go to Canada and there is a girl who is crying. What would you say?
A girl where?
Imagine
I
that you
find
travel, you are traveling to Canada tomorrow and you go there tomorrow. So when you are in Canada, you see a girl and the girl is crying. The girl is crying. What would you say?
Okay, I will um ask ask her what happened or the
How?
reason.
How you say? What happened? No. What would you say?
Why are you crying?
Why are you crying? Or you can say,
Where
hello.
is your mom?
Yes. Tell me.
Where is your mom?
Where is your mom? Of course. Where is your mom? Why are you crying? How can I help you? Are you okay? Things like
Mm,
that, right? I have a question. Have you ever cried on the street? Have you ever cried on the street?
no, I don't
No,
remember, but
you
I
don't
didn't.
remember. Never, even when you were a child, you didn't cry on the street, right?
No.
No. Okay, that's your son. Or did your son cry on the street one day? Hmm? Did your son
Eh,
cry on the street?
um, yes,
Yes, and what happened?
because we were at the park and it was time to leave or it was time to go
It
home.
was time to leave. Yeah, that's right. It was time to leave. Okay. And I have a question, Gabby. What is a favor you have done for someone recently? For example, yesterday my mom told me, Carlos, could you do me a quick favor? And I was like busy, but I say yes. What do you want me to do, mom? Please go for run errands. Do you know the word run errands?
No.
Run errands can be run errands. Look at this. Run errands. Los mandados, el recado,
Uh-huh.
run errands. Pepito, go to the store, run errand. You say, he runs errands. You run errands. You go out to buy or do something. Okay?
Okay.
So she
Yeah.
asked me, could you run errands? Okay, mom, I can do it. So what about you, Gabby?
For example, if my sister um pedir, pedir, ¿cómo
Pedir
se
in
dice?
English, we say ask. Ask, like preguntar, yes. Ask.
Okay, my sister asked me if I lend her my baggage.
Okay, okay. That's a good favor. And did you do it?
Yes, because she she's traveling to Mexico.
Because she's traveling to Mexico. Next question. Something you learned to do when you were a child. For example, I learned how to speak in English when I was 3 years old because my mom speaks English. What about you? What did you learn when you were a child? Did you learn something interesting?
Learn to do when you were a child. Um, I learned to do a cake, maybe.
To make. You make a cake.
Make, uh,
You learn how to make a cake.
yeah.
Did your mother teach you or did you learn them by yourself?
No, my mother teach
Your
me
mother taught you,
how, how
yes, your mother taught you. It was like how many years ago?
9 years, I
9 years
think.
ago. It was difficult for you or you were really, really clever and you understand it?
No, it didn't difficult for me.
It wasn't. It
It was,
wasn't. It wasn't difficult for you. Next.
yeah.
Did you watch the new Mario's movie?
¿Cómo?
Did you watch the news Mario's movie?
No.
Not yet. Not yet.
No.
What is something you plan to do very soon, Gabby? For example, I plan to come back to Moscow next year. What about you?
I plan to travel to Canada in July.
You plan to travel to Canada in July. Next.
Mhm.
Is there anything specific you would like to learn in the next few weeks?
Yeah, an English interview.
An English interview? Okay. The English
Mhm.
interview? Okay, then I will ask you some questions related to the topic. I have a question, Gabby. For example, can you work under pressure? I mean,
I didn't listen to you.
okay, you didn't. Okay, remember here, I can hear you. Are you saying something? I can hear you. When you say I don't listen to you means I have something more interesting and I don't want to spend my time listening to you. You see?
Okay, okay,
Okay,
okay.
I can hear you. For example, when you speak, I can hear you. There is a problem with your microphone. But when you say, for example, well, you know, Gabby, I don't listen to my friends because my friends, they are very, very silly. I don't listen to my friends because they are silly. And when they call me, I can hear them because there is a problem with my cell phone. You see the difference between listen and hear? So
Yes,
you didn't hear me or you didn't listen to me?
I didn't hear you.
Nice. That's perfect. So my question is, Gabby, can you work under pressure?
Yes, I can. I have worked in customer service, so I can work under pressure.
You can work under pressure. You can say, well, I know how to work under pressure because I work in a customer service area. That you mentioned that part, but don't repeat again because I can work in straight. No, I work under pressure because I work in a customer area. So I know how to deal with difficult situations. Remember,
Okay.
under pressure, meet with difficult situations. Even when you are sick, you have to work. Even when you have problems in your house, you need to be very happy with a happy smile in your job. You see?
Yeah.
Okay. Next question. What is your weakness, the worst weakness you have in your life and in your personality, in your traits, whatever?
One of my weaknesses is I can be a bit of perfectionist.
Ah, you can be a bit of perfectionist. Wow. But this is not really bad, to be honest, because you are always trying to do your best. But how are you dealing with this difficult weakness? How are you dealing with that?
Um, Sometimes I reminding myself that good enough is okay.
Nice. Do you know how to work in groups?
Yes, I like to work in group.
Why is important to work in a team?
Um, because you always need help for at work. Um, if you work well with others, you can achieve common goals.
You can achieve common goals. Yes. Well, Gabby, why should we hire you instead of someone else? Why, in this area of customer service, Well, you know, we have a lot of clients and we are looking for someone who is very talkative, who has a great sympathy for different situations and for different people. Why should we hire you instead of someone else?
Because I think I have the skills and the experience you need for this position. And I know to deal with a difficult customer and all kind of issues or customer complaints.
Mhm. So you know how to manage angry people, right? You know how to deal with, you know how to manage, you know how to cope with, cope with. COP
Cop is the same that deal, no?
is similar to, yes, cope with,
Mhm.
similar to deal with, cope with, similar. You say, is that similar? Similar to and different? Different from, for example, the word cope with is not different from deal with because the word cope with is similar to deal with.
Yeah. Mhm.
Ah, okay. So you had experience working in customer service area and you know how to treat people. That's so cool. And next question, what would be the first action you would take if you started working in this position now? If I say, okay, Gabby, please go to your office, what would be the first action? What would you take if you start?
I would like to meet all my team.
You would like to meet
Meet
all your
team.
team. Yes. And why
Mhm.
do you want to meet your team? Because you're going to work alone. You are going to be in charge of a group of people. Yes. But they are working now. Why should you talk or meet your team?
Uh, because I need to know them um,
Because you need to
or
know them.
in
Okay.
in order to know how I have to work.
Or maybe you wanna know them because you want to know what they expect from you. Okay.
Mhm.
And why do you want to work in this position?
Because I love uh, working with people
Because you love
and
working with people. Mhm.
um, and I think this position is interesting
Okay, you
because
know this position.
every day is different.
Because every day is different. My question is, how can we know that you are suitable for this role?
That we also suitable. Okay.
Appropriate. How do we know that you are appropriate for this role?
Um, because my experience, maybe
Because of my experience.
because of my experience.
Because of my experience, I consider myself as a, and you explained your abilities and your qualities. Don't forget that you are selling yourself every second in an interview.
Mhm,
Okay, so whenever they ask a question and you don't know what to say, you need to improvise. So this is the reason that I ask different questions.
mhm.
What are your long range goals? I mean, your long-term goals that you have.
Um, I would like to be a manager.
You would like to be the manager, but okay, you would like to be the manager. No, you never say that. You never say that. You say that you would like to spearhead. I love this verb, spearhead. Let's take it. Spearhead. Do you remember that word? Spearhead?
Spearhead. ¿Como líder?
Liderar, spearhead. I would like to spearhead a project. I would like to be the leader. I would like to organize a team and maybe give directions or maybe teach how to deal with difficult situations or maybe create or implement. Do you remember the word implement?
Implementar.
Implement a scheme. Do you remember? To implement
Sí.
a scheme in order to reduce the number of complaints. Implement measures. Do you remember those words? I would like to implement measures with a team in order to reduce the number of complaints that we have in our company. It's really important to have small numbers if we want to stand out. Resaltar. If we want to stand out from the enemies, I mean the other companies, if we want to stand from the rest, we are supposed to implement new measures, new scheme in order to avoid complaints. So in the future, I see myself spearheading the team, guiding a group of people in order to increment, in order to boost, in order to boost the way that we treat people, maybe to come up with new ideas, with new and fresh ideas, you know, because now people think that all ideas or the ideas from the past are the best option for the present. But remember that time changes. You can also include expressions. Time changes, okay? You know that if it works, if this expression, if it works, let it works. But if we could improve it, let's do it. You see, if it works, let it works. But if we could improve it, let's do it. You see? So this is what you have to do it. Dice que si funciona, que lo dejemos que trabaje, pero si podríamos mejorarlo, que lo hagamos. Allí es donde te tienes que vender, Gaby. Okay, do you have any questions?
No.
You realize that now you understand when I speak. I remember our first lessons. It was a little bit difficult, but now you got the ideas, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So Gaby, we're going to stop here and remember that we have this this one, let me share the screen. We have the free for talk. So you can practice whenever you want, Gaby. You can practice whenever you want. It's really cool because Chinese people, they'll help you. Remember that in Canada, you're going to speak in Spanish, okay? En Canadá, tú vas a hablar en español, incluso cuando te vas a comprar, ¿ok? Los primeros trabajos que tengas, los vas a hacer en español, ¿ok? Vas a hablar con muchos filipinos, indios, y todos hablan su inglés, sí, y les vas a entender, porque ellos te van a hablar su inglés, así como están aprendiendo, te van a hablar en inglés. Y tú también hablarás en inglés, pero vas a usar mucho tu español. Ahora, si tú quieres cambiarte de posición, ¿qué vas a tener que aprender? El inglés. Entonces tú ya estás teniendo la ventaja, pero no te preocupes. Vas a hablar en español en Canadá. Mucha gente habla español. No todo es inglés, pero lo que aprenden la mayoría es para cambiarse de trabajo. Yes. Entonces, para eso. Entonces ahí le llevas la ventaja. Do you have any questions? Entonces aquí empieza a practicar con ellos, porque en Canadá te vas a encontrar muchas personas que hablan inglés, pero no con el acento norteamericano con el cual estamos acostumbrados nosotros, con los nativos. You got it? Do you have any questions?
No.
Okay, so we are going to stop here and see you in our next lesson. Bye-bye. Take care. Remember that you have the classes on the website. You have all the...
Yeah, I know.
Okay. Bye-bye. Take care.
Thank you.
My
See you.
pleasure. My pleasure.